And never do things when you're really tired. That's what I'm gonna say. Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. Today is Monday, March 23rd, and this is episode number 86. Welcome, welcome. It has been another very busy week. I kind of had some singular focus, which I will talk about later. It is currently cloudy. It actually was snowing a little bit. We had some snow yesterday, so the trees are actually absolutely gorgeous. It's still 34 degrees out, so it didn't really have a chance to melt. I think tomorrow is supposed to get into the 40s, so we'll probably start to lose that. But yeah, spring. Welcome to spring. Happy spring. Let's see. Today I have a finished object to share, and I have updates on the other projects that I have been working on, and I think that is pretty much it. But I am wearing some knits today. I have two of them. First of all, I am wearing my Deck the Halls shawl, which I, of course, just finished last month. As a reminder, it is a pattern by Tabetha Hedrick, and I knit it out of Emma's Yarns, Perfectly Smalls in the Fa La 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 color set. And it took me a couple of months. I started in the middle of December, and I finished it in the middle of February. And then underneath that, I have, I'll take this off, my Elphaba sweater. It's got, let's see if I can pick it up a little bit. Here we go. A little bit of lace detail along the sleeves and along the hem. And this is a pattern by Mary Annarella, surprise, surprise, huh? Of Lyrical Knits. And I knit this back. I started it in May of 2019, and it took me until August of 2020 to complete it. And it is actually knit out of hand spun. So it's holding up decently well. It's a little slightly felted. But all in all, it's holding up. It's got a little bit of a fuzz to it, I think, is the biggest thing, which kind of gives it that little bit of a felted look. But yeah, it's in decent shape. I saw it in my chest yesterday. I'm like, I haven't worn that in a long time. So knowing that we were coming in off of some snow and it was going to be in the mid-30s, I thought it would be a good one to wear. So with that, I think we are ready to go take a look at what is on my blocking board for this week. So I'm super excited that I have a finished object, and I finished, I bet you can probably guess, my Spooky Girl socks. I got them both done. So yesterday, oh my gosh, last week, I was just getting ready to start the heel, and I knit the heel and the entire foot in 1 week. You might recall that I had said at the end of the podcast, or when I was talking about these socks rather, that I wanted to get the heel turned because I had a meeting that night that I wanted to bring them to, a ladies fellowship meeting. And so I did get the heel turned, and I brought them with me. And of course, so with the heel turned, all I had left was the foot. And I have small feet. Yes, I'm a woman size 6. So it doesn't take terribly long, but I got like half of the foot done during that meeting, and then I, during Bible study, got the other half of the foot done, including the extra stripes on the toe, and then on Friday I was able to just complete the toe. So these are done, and I am thrilled. So let's talk about the yarn. This was one of my Emma's yarns. Woolen Woman Fibers. Oh my word, my mind was going blank. Woolen Woman Fibers sets that I had gotten. I think it's the August set, if I recall correctly. And so there is their tag, and it is Spooky Girl Summer is the name of the colorway. So this is about what I have left. I actually haven't weighed it. I need to do that. Plus the little teeny ball of the contrast color. that I used. I wanted actually to do the heels, the cuff, the heel, and the toe in the contrast color, but I believe this, if I recall correctly, because I did the first sock and I finished it last fall, I think I forgot when it came time to turn the heel in the first sock, and I just did it in the color. So I decided to incorporate the stripes in here. If I had turned the heel, I would not have had enough. This is a 20-gram mini, and I would have enough to do cuffs, toes, and heels, but not cuffs, toes, heels, contrast stripes. So that was my compromise, was to throw the little contrast stripes in there. I really rather like the way that looks, but I am super, super excited to have these off of the needles. Moving on to my project bag, let's take a look at what I have worked on today, or this week rather, and I'll just say, not much. I can't even tell you how I'm like walking back in my mind, and I had the meeting Monday night, I had a meeting Wednesday night, but I was home Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Weekend was kind of busy, but we'll get to it. Anyway, let's take a look. So first off, I did complete a block on my Imagination Quilt. Ugh, so much fun. I really, really am liking this. I got the borders done on it. So this is the third block. I need to write down, as I'm showing these off to you, what the name of the block is. And I don't remember. It might be Marilla for some reason, is what I'm thinking. But, or is it, who was Matthew. Matthew's the man. Because I think the first three blocks are Anne, Matthew, and I know it's Anne is the first block, and then Matthew and Marilla. I think Marilla was first, and then Matthew, so maybe that's Matthew. At any rate. And now I'm working on block number 4, and this is as far as I have gotten. Let's see if I hold it this way. There we go. So I have 2 of the seams done. I had hopes to try to at least get the block seamed yesterday, and it didn't happen, but that's okay. We'll keep picking away at them. Again, this is my Emma's Yarn Advent that I got last Christmas, and I am using the Imagination Quilt pattern by Meema Makes. And then, I haven't shown this in a while, but this is my neutral color, and it is Nitpick Stroll in the Bear colorway. So, that's the progress on that one. I will note that I am not making anything close to progress on the goals that I had set at the beginning of the month. And you know what? It's fine. It is what it is. I did not work on my Aura Lapghan. And the only other knitting project that I worked on, besides the socks, is my Watercolor Cowl. And even that I did not get. Yeah, I only got a couple of rows done. I don't even know that this is worth sharing. Seriously. Sad, sad, sad. So, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about this one because it's not even worth it. I'll talk more about it next week. You want to know, go take a look last week. I'll have a link to my projects in the show notes. The one thing I can talk more about is my cross stitch. So, Tuesday, and this is actually probably why, it actually really is totally why, I did not get a lot of other fibery things done. So, Tuesday was a really long day. I had 2 back-to-back field trips, and I got home and I was completely and totally wiped. I'm kind of bleeding into my day-to-day segment, so I'll talk about Tuesday now because I think it factors into this project, and then we won't talk about it when I come to my day-to-day. So Tuesday I had back-to-back field trips. In the morning I took the entire 7th grade over to our local community college, which is based right in our town, in our city, and they had a career day. So they spent 2 hours on the campus. They visited a rotation of 3 different sessions, 45-minute sessions. Was it 45 minutes or 30-minute sessions? Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. 3 sessions with 3 different careers that they got to learn about. I bussed them there. did the thing, bust them back. Got back to school, investigated a couple of things, had some lunch, and we got back to the school about 11:15, and at 12:30, we all jumped on a bus again, and the entire school bussed over to the high school to listen to the high school band and chorus perform, which is something that has traditionally happened. But back before we got our brand new building, the band and the chorus in the high school would travel to all the elementary schools and the middle school to perform at their schools, and we would have an all-school assembly. So now, because they get the big, beautiful auditorium, we get bussed over there, and they get to perform in their beautiful space, and it's great because it gives the kids an opportunity to start to experience the high school. So, excuse me. So that happened, and I was there along with the assistant principal, and at the very end of it, like the last 5 minutes, the assistant principal turns to me, she's like, okay, Michelle, I have an appointment out of town, so I've got to scoot. Like, okay, I guess I'm the one who is kind of sweeping and making sure that everybody gets back the way they're supposed to. So we got back to school with just enough time to literally turn around, load the buses, ship everybody home. So that was my day on Tuesday. It was very long. I was just mentally fatigued to the point where I actually, when I got home, I should have gone to the gym, and I texted my trainer, and I'm like, I just can't. I don't have it in me to push. And it probably, truthfully, would have made me feel better, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. I needed to be home. So I sat at home like a little bump on a log. The one thing I did do was pull out my iPad, and I was taking a look at my cross-stitch chart. And I was almost done. I've been working for like 2 weeks on the new modifications to the pattern, to the chart, and almost ready. Like, I was actually thinking, okay, we'll do a few things. Maybe I'll cut the fabric and I'll get the project started tonight. And never do things when you're really tired. That's what I'm going to say. Because I got into a particular screen that I just couldn't figure out how to get back to what I was doing in the editing. And I like hit a back button, and it said, are you sure? Because any changes you have made will not be saved. And I'm like, I don't think I should be seeing this screen, and I don't think I made any changes in this screen. No, so I canceled it, and I dubbed around again, like 2 or 3 times I kept doing it. Well, like the 3rd or 4th time, I'm like, well, all right, maybe I changed something, and I didn't realize that I changed something, and because it says, once you go back, these changes cannot be reversed. So I did it. Yep. You probably are guessing I undid all of the work that I had done over the previous 2 weeks. All of a sudden I realized, because I had started when I first plugged the pattern in to the picture into the program, and I increased the saturation. I had, instead of 125 colors, I had like 425 colors. And I did a whole bunch of modifications on my laptop, and then I exported it from my laptop to my iPad so I could do a little bit more granular work. It was a little easier. And I had gotten it down to like 340 colors, so I had knocked off a whole bunch of colors. Well, I suddenly realized that the chart now said there was 402 colors, and I'm like, oh no. So yeah, I have since figured out what I did and what I needed to do to not lose those colors. So I almost cried, and I put it down for half an hour and pulled something else out. And then I did end up, I'm like, okay, well, I can re-export the photo from my laptop. So that's what I did. And then I started again working from that point because I felt like that would be easier somehow. And I redid it all. So I spent a lot of Tuesday night, Wednesday was Bible study, and then Thursday and Friday working on that. That's pretty much where all of my extra time went. And then on Saturday morning, I decided I did one more pass, and I had gotten it down to like 325 colors, and I really focused this second time on like from the chest up, because I probably will continue to, when I'm not tired, when don't feel like knitting or whatever, looking at the bouquet or whatever and adjusting things around that. but I did start the project. So I worked on that all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So that is where the rest of my crafty time went. And this is what I have. And I know it doesn't look like much, but this would be my daughter's head. Pretty much it's her head. This whole thing. This little bit up at the top is my son-in-law. But then this here, this space, there's a hair clip. And then her face will start to be here. So I'm really pleased with the amount that I got done. And I got done, I would say, in the last 2 days, nearly as much as I had done on the previous project. If I find, where's my iPad? Can I show you the picture? Actually, you know what I can do? I can pull up the text that I sent to my daughter, because I texted her just before I started it. I texted her the updated photo, and she was very happy with it. So how well can you see? So that is what the program is projecting the cross stitch to look like. So you can see, oops, right there. This is the whole part that I was working on. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and frankly at this point, I'm gonna run with it, because again, like I had said last time, I know that my enthusiasm can ebb and flow, so I gotta strike while the iron is hot. So the next week or two, it might be a lot of cross stitch you see and a lot less knitting, and that's fine. I do need to start the Afghan or the baby blanket for my niece-in-law. However, that said, we had a birthday party over the weekend, and I was talking to my sister-in-law, and that has been moved to June 8th or 9th or something like that. So I've got a few extra weeks on that one, which is good, because I would still prefer to complete the hexes before I start the blanket, so I know where I'm at with leftover yarn. So that is all of my projects for this week. Well, that brings me to this week's day-to-day. I have already told you about Tuesday, which was thoroughly exhausting. Wednesday, of course, I had Bubble Study Wednesday night. Wednesday itself, I don't recall anything remarkable. I'm like racking my brain. I don't think so. I think it was a pretty standard day. Thursday was pretty quiet. And then Friday was a workshop day. So it was a teacher workshop day. And I was actually doing a presentation. So I did a lot of that actually during the week. Last week was finalizing and polishing off my presentation. I did some professional development for my staff on trauma-informed teaching practices and how we can, instead of managing behaviors, we can support and teach regulation skills and all of those kinds of things. So I did that on Friday, and then I was home a little early. I kind of scooted around 1:30. I think we had another half hour or so, and I'm like, it was time for them to work in their rooms. I'm like, I don't have anything else to do. So I took the liberty of going home. So I had from like 1:30 on, and we didn't have anything going on. So that was where I spent and kind of did that last final push. I finished my Spooky Girl socks was the first thing I did. And I think that might have also been when I crocheted the border around my square. I don't remember now, and then I did a final push on the chart. So that was on Friday. And then on Saturday, we celebrated my sister-in-law's 60th birthday party. Her husband threw a surprise party for her, so we did that. We got there for noon, and we're there for several hours, you know, a good chunk of the afternoon. I came home and got some groceries and relaxed. And then on Sunday, we had a snowstorm come through, so we actually canceled church. Yeah. So it was, again, I had a good opportunity. I spent all day, like I said, all day Saturday. I started the cross stitch Saturday morning before we left for the party. I came home and picked it back up, and then we went to groceries, and then I came back and I picked it back up. And on Sunday, that's actually all I worked on yesterday was the cross stitch. I had intentions of, like I said, working on the Imagination Quilt some more, and I didn't touch it. I was having too much fun with the cross stitch. So, and then today I was supposed to have a professional development day, but it got canceled because the school district in which that was being held. There was a major water main break, and they actually were under just about the entire city was under a boil water order. So they had to close down all the schools, which meant that the training was canceled. So I ended up back at school, and oh my goodness, it was a day. I'm glad that we were there. The social worker and I were supposed to go, and instead we were there, and it turned out to be a good thing. We had one student in particular who became very dysregulated that we needed to support, and that took like 2 hours of our time. And yeah, so it was good that we were there. A couple of other things that bubbled up. Day went very fast, let's put it that way. So I am looking forward tonight to a very quiet evening. So I think that will bring me to the end of this episode. I thank you so very much for joining me. I appreciate all of you who watch, those of you who comment. I love the comments. Please keep it coming. I love to interact, but it also does help to increase the visibility of the podcast on YouTube. You can also like this episode and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. You can also find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things that I have talked about. And with that, I hope you have a fantastic week, and happy knitting.